Hi there. Hi, Terry. I see you. And let's see, Sarah and Teresa are here. Welcome.
Hello.
Hi. And hi, Christy.
Hi.
How's everyone doing this week?
We're good. We're doing well.
Yeah.
This is Sarah.
Hi, Sarah. I can hear you. How are you doing, Teresa? Let's see here. So, how's everyone doing on sleep? I just thought I'd start with just a little. I mean, you've probably gotten a lot of sleep this week if you've been paying attention to the materials. Just want to kind of review how important sleep is, just for not only supporting our digestion, but supporting our mental health and our physical health. Sleep is how we calm inflammation, how we avoid so many different kinds of diseases. Chronic disease oftentimes is partially rooted in lack of sleep. Our hunger and satiety signals get all out of whack when we don't get enough sleep. So we end up eating when our body doesn't really need food, and or just not eating at all. So all kinds of things get all out of whack. And getting that restorative sleep is where our body not only is it producing hormones for growth and like for our kids, we really want them to have lots and lots of sleep because it's essential for their growth and development, but it also supports our immune system. And it also supports the cleaning of all of our systems. Our brain actually shrinks in size, and that lymphatic fluid is flushing out toxins while we're sleeping. Our liver gets flushed out at night. Our small intestine gets cleaned out by that migrating motor complex at night. So sleep is so important for all of our body parts and systems, and just for us to be restored energetically and mentally, for us to have a really great restoration of our mood and emotional stability and just organizing information in our brain. When we go to sleep, usually the deepest phases of sleep are happening before midnight. And then the part of our sleep, the REM phase of our sleep, where our brain is kind of like organizing information and filtering out the stuff we don't need and filing the stuff we might want in the future. That's often happening kind of in the last hours of sleep, like around 5 a.m. And then I just learned recently that the most restorative sleep, if you can stay in bed, is happening more like between 7 and 9 a.m. if you can stay in bed longer. So that's kind of a little summary about sleep. And I'd love to hear how it's going for all of you. And if you've been able to get a little more sleep or more quality sleep, what's been getting in the way, what rituals have really helped, and any questions that you have anywhere regarding your kids' digestion, gut health. Who wants to go ahead?
I can start. Am I audible now?
Yes, you're
okay.
audible.
I got it turned back on. I have to get up to get my daughter up for school, so that controls when I wake up. But I've used a little sleep tracker, and I've noticed that my sleep percentage for quality sleep has been really good, and that's not always the case. So I've been really pleased by that.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
What do you think has made the difference in improving your quality of sleep?
I'm not sure. I, just try day by day to do the same things to set it up to succeed. But I know that when I give my son a bath, I give him Epsom salts, and then, before he drains it, I'll stick my feet in there and get my little benefit out of what I can. I don't know if that's done it. Just eating the right amounts at the right time, or if I'm just doing so much right now that it's just wearing me out. It could be any combination of things.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about what you do to get ready for bed? Is there anything else in addition to your feed and the Epsom salts?
I pretty much just wash my face because I've always got some sort of makeup or something on, and then brush teeth, and and then if the bath is there, I'll stick my feet in it. But that's really it. Those 3 things: washing up, getting ready, and then diving in, because usually it's later than it should be, and I'm ready.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. By the way, what kind of a sleep tracker are you using?
It's just a little app. I have the Apple Watch, so I ties into that, and I think it's called Sleep Plus.
Oh, cool.
So it's one of the free ones that I downloaded, but it's kind of interesting looking back and following it.
Yeah. Have you noticed any any blips in your sleep where you're like, oh, I know why?
Yes, definitely.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Who else? Thanks so much, Teresa.
No problem.
What's going on with everybody else?
I'll go. Wait.
Hi,
Sorry,
Sarah.
I have a lot of mobility. Both the kids are awake. Last time they were both napping, which was perfect, but it didn't work out quite the same this time.
Right.
But we have been getting lots of sleep. We were having some really hard times for a while, and now they both are sleeping. The baby right here, she's almost 1, and she's been sleeping through the night for the last 3 nights for the first time, which has been amazing. And I make a little essential oil blend, and I have a little roller ball on it, and I rub it on their feet and give them little massages, and just kind of change just made it. I mean, I always felt like we had a quiet sleep routine, but we've made it even more calm and more quiet, and just kind of sticking with the same routine instead of slightly changing it. And it's been helping great, and both are sleeping perfect, because the toddler, the 2-year-old, he was getting up at like 4 a.m., 3 a.m. and wanting to come and sleep in bed with us, and the baby wasn't sleeping, so then I'd have both of them awake sometimes, and yeah, it was not good. So last night was the first night that I actually slept through the night, because the first nights she was sleeping through the night, I was so used to waking up, I kept waking up, and so it's been really nice.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Do you have any idea what else is shifting that maybe has led to Mathis continuing to sleep into the morning?
I think it's a mindset. I think that they feed off of our energy, and I was really concerned about his sleep, and it was starting to stress me out, and how he was having such a hard time, and it was just like crying and a whole big ordeal, and it was no fun. And I was thinking like, oh, I can't. Yeah, I think it was more me. And then once I calmed down and said, okay, let's start this routine. Let's do it this way, and more deep breaths. And I think I was trying things before out of desperation, and now I'm just doing it like, this is what we're going to do. It seems to work out.
That's fantastic. That is a huge energetic shift.
Yes.
And I'm so happy you got a whole night of sleep.
I know.
I'm really thrilled for your kids, because I know how great that is for kids to actually get that long sleep. But oh my gosh, for you too.
Right. I'm going to be amazing in a week.
Yeah. Awesome. Who else can talk about sleep? Thanks so much, Sarah.
I guess I can talk about sleep a little bit. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Hi, Terry.
Yeah, okay. Hi, I'm new. So let's see. My husband and I spend a lot of time trying to optimize our sleep environment and, just trying to kind of track our sleep and figure out what is the best combination of things for us. So we do a number of things. We have blackout shades. We both wear like really soft earplugs at night, and that just helps to minimize like waking up from little noises, but I can still hear, anything really like, if the kids wake up, I can still hear them, but it just kind of muffles things a little bit.
Nice.
Let's see. I usually drink some reishi tea before bed, and I think that's calming for me. I also make sure that I have magnesium during the day, and a lot of times I like to do a little essential oils right before bed, some lavender or some like peace and calming, just kind of smell it. And that helps me a lot. And I haven't actually been tracking my sleep lately, but one thing that works pretty well for us is having a Fitbit. It just goes on our wrist, like a bracelet. And that will actually tell you how much deep sleep you're getting versus REM sleep and then light sleep. And that's interesting because I do find that there's a difference, sometimes when I have a glass of wine before bed, my sleep is more disrupted. So yeah, I mean, my sleep's been okay lately. I haven't been tracking it religiously, but those are kind of things that I try to keep in mind and things that I find helpful.
Awesome. I'm really happy to hear about these things that are apparently working really well for you.
Yeah, if I do them all and don't have my wine, I do pretty good. Oh, and also working out during the day is a big, I think that helps me more than anything, honestly. Yeah, getting my exercise, so.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that, Terry.
Sure.
All right.
I can go. So last week was a big whammy for me, meals as a family, and now sleep is another big whammy for me. So I'm embarrassed to share my lack of sleep habits. So my husband and I are both ridiculously stubborn night owls. We always have been. And so I don't even want to tell you what time we go to bed. And and Kylie, my daughter, is also a night owl. And add to that, she with her health challenges, she has a really hard time settling. So I know we would benefit hugely from some sort of a routine. That's the other thing. I'm not good at routines. We've never had a routine with her whole life when it comes to sleep. I tried when she was a baby and I never was able to find anything that I felt worked for me or for her. So she has her own bed. It's in her room, and if we're going to be putting her to bed, we lay with her until she falls asleep, and it can be hours sometimes. And so normally if I'm putting her to bed, I fall asleep, which is a good thing because I'm getting more sleep than I would if I didn't. But it's late, if she doesn't fall asleep usually till about 9:30 at night, sometimes later. And starting earlier could help us, but to be quite honest, mentally, sometimes I can't deal with it. I can't be in there for hours with her. Starting later means she will fall asleep a little bit later, but it means I cut the amount of time that I'm just sitting in a bed doing nothing. Helping her to sleep obviously is an important job of mine, but everything else is running through my mind. And so because I get out of there so late, usually I'm eating dinner in my bed, watching TV, and then falling falling asleep. And so, you know, if I'm not putting, on the nights that I don't put her to bed, I'm working, and I don't get home from work until usually 10:30, sometimes 11 o'clock at night. I'm not taking good care of myself. So that's when I eat my dinner, and it's in bed in front of the TV, and then I fall asleep. So it's a, you know, big pattern. No matter whether I'm putting her to bed or whether I'm working, I'm not taking care of myself. But then obviously the sleep implications for her, she's going to bed so much later. This is her first year of a really set schedule with school. She's 5 days a week. Thankfully, her private school starts later. And I was just really upfront with her teacher that we're never going to be like, there's an early period where they'd love for you to drop them off during this like free play. I just can't get there. So, you know, we have to wake her up every day. She's definitely not ready to be woken up because she goes to bed so late. So we wake her up around like 7:30. Even at that, I still can't get her out of the door on time, but I'm not going to wake her up earlier than that. You know, if I wake her up a little bit later than that, it's good. She gets a little bit extra sleep, but then the morning is a disaster. She does wake up really happy. She's like, almost every morning. Like there are some mornings, if the night didn't end well, especially if my husband was the one putting her to bed, they like, I wouldn't call it argue, but it's not a smooth process when he's putting her to bed. She wants mom's at work. So, you know, 6 out of 7 days, sometimes 7 out of 7 days, she's waking up happy, and we can like start the day that way, which is nice. But yeah, we're hurting in every aspect of the sleep area.
Oh, that sounds really challenging. And I totally get it. I know I've been through periods where it's taken a long time to get Wes to sleep, and he wants me with him. And the whole time I'm just thinking of all the stuff that's not getting done that I'm going to have to do when I want to go to bed when he finally is asleep. And I totally get it.
Yeah. And then if she wakes up in the middle of the night, doesn't happen often. She's 5.5 now. So that stopped happening probably a year ago. But you know, last night she woke up at, I call it last night, 5:30. I know that's what time some people have to wake up, but to us it's still nighttime. The day before that it was 4:30. So there are a couple times in the week that she'll wake up like that, and I just go in and I sleep in her bed. We both fall back asleep, which is nice that she can get back to sleep.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's nice that you're willing to do that, to give her that extra sleep.
Yeah, I mean, if I didn't, she wouldn't fall back to sleep, and then we'd be awake. So.
Right. So in hearing what everyone else is sharing and in the things that you've been looking at this week, where do you see the biggest opportunity for you and for Kylie? Like, is there something that stands out to you as one little thing that you feel like I can definitely start here? I can do that this week.
I really liked the idea of the essential oils and a massage. I feel like I could do that. And my husband could definitely do that. Our nighttime, I say we don't have like a sleep routine. We don't, but we do have a herb supplements, you know, treatments, all that routine. So we could like work that in, I think, get all of that stuff out of the way, get in her bedroom and do that before we read the books. I think that could be nice.
Okay. Are you willing to commit to doing it for like the next 3 nights?
If you hold me accountable, I am, yeah.
Gotcha. I will definitely check up on you and I'll also be seeing, okay, if it's not working, what is something that we can do to either back it up to do the thing that will work or to find whatever's getting in the way.
Yeah. Okay.
Because there's no like failure here. There's just like, okay, let's identify what's getting in the way. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
Cool. So I've got you.
Sarah, do you mind if I ask which oils as you said you make a blend?
Yes, I use Peace and Calming, Gentle Baby, and Lavender.
Okay.
And then I mix it with fractionated coconut oil, and then I have it right here actually. And then I just put it in an old, actually I think it was either a Peace and Calming bottle already that was on like the last few drops. Mm-hmm. And then I just added the Gentle Baby and Lavender and then the fractionated coconut oil and put a roller ball on it. Oh, Sorry. And my son loves doing it. He does it. He's like, can I do it by myself? And he puts it on his sister's feet. And
Oh, cute.
so, yeah, he gets to do it by himself. And then I just give him, I watched a video. It's like a 2-minute foot reflexology. And it shows like where to rub for digestion and for spine and sinus and all these things. And so I just kind of do a quick little, the whole thing takes maybe a minute and a half at the most.
Okay, thanks.
So, yeah.
Who do you get your essential oils from?
I use Young Living. I've been using them for a long time.
Okay. In case they're interested in
Do other people use oils?
I use a diffuser with lavender oil. I tried putting it in my son's room, but he didn't like it in his room, so it's moved to my room. But we've tried that. And I do think it helps. I notice for myself that I conk right out when it's on. And it's an intermittent one. I think it only runs for 45 minutes or something like that. So it's not continuous.
What kind of oil?
I do a diffuser as well for about an hour before bed, just to put it in the kids' rooms with usually lavender.
Mm-hmm.
And Terry, you use essential oils as well?
Yes. So I have used the Young Living oils, the Peace and Calming. More recently, I've been getting into the Vibrant Blue. What's it called? Was it Vibrant Blue oil?
Vibrant Blue oils, yeah.
Yeah, from Jodie Cohen. She has a really nice, for me, she has a blend called Circadian Rhythm. And I feel like that just is a guaranteed good night's sleep for me personally. You just take a couple drops and put it, I think, here at the base of your neck and the top of your head. And I feel like it really makes a difference. But she has other blends that are similar. She has a Calm blend, and I put that on my wrist and smell it. My daughter loves her blend, the Parasympathetic, which smells great. It's a mixture of clove and lime. You just put it right behind your ears here. And it's supposed to stimulate the parasympathetic system, which you might know more, Alyssa, about. But she loves that. And I also love lavender. And the other brand I use is Mountain Rose Herbs. I like theirs as well.
Thank you.
I'm not a one brand person.
Yeah.
I like to try different things.
I also love the Vibrant Blue oils, especially the parasympathetic blend. That's one that we use here a lot.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. We have a lot of great resources in this group with everybody's, with all of your practices and what you've already done research on. I love that. So let's talk a little bit more about, is there anything else about sleep that anyone wants to ask or discuss?
Do you find that kids wake up from eliminating at night, urination, that can be an issue for them? I think my son struggles with that.
Mm-hmm.
Still.
Yeah, so oftentimes when kids are having trouble at night because they need to go to the bathroom, it can be because they're super gassy, and so there's a lot of extra pressure on their bladder. So then backing up and thinking about, okay, what kinds of foods are they eating? What kind of foods are they make them uncomfortable, and then figuring out how can we start with their digestion, which really means starting with that rest and digest mode, working on that, gradually supporting their like the hydrochloric acid in their stomach to make sure they're breaking down those proteins, figuring out, okay, do they need enzyme support to break down the fats? And we've talked a little bit about this. So resolving digestive issues oftentimes will really support sleep, because then you don't have that kind of gas and bloating and pressure and discomfort.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes it's really classic for like pathogenic infections, like the Helminth variety, like what is it, like pinworms or other kinds of worms and parasites. Their metabolic activity happens, like their byproducts will be really stimulating and wake kids up. And so then you get like the night waking and grinding their teeth and sometimes the nightmares. So that's another thing that that we can look into, pay attention to if kids are waking up at night. And one of the really simple ways of getting rid of these kinds of pathogens is pumpkin seeds are great. Helminths, that class of organisms, just doesn't like pumpkin seeds, and so you can do like and there's also this idea, like I think sometimes it's called like the pulse method, or there are different phrases for it, but you do a treatment, a natural treatment like this for a couple of weeks, then you take a break, then you do it for a couple of weeks, then you take a break for a week. And so we've been doing that with pumpkin seeds for a while. Sometimes it gets hard because Wes decided he didn't really like pumpkin seeds anymore. But we're working out different ways to bring them back in now and then. And yeah, so we can track that.
Good suggestion.
I'm glad you mentioned that about the pumpkin seeds. So we're dealing with parasites with Kylie right now, and it did for a while cause her to wet the bed every night. She didn't wake up unless, if she was really wet, then that would wake her up, but she never woke up like knowing that she had to go.
Right.
And it took us a while to figure out what was going on, but once we found out that it was the parasites and we started treating that, her night waking also has completely changed. And so I don't think her night waking right now is because of the parasites. I think we've really knocked them back, and we ended up doing a homeopathic remedy for that. But it's interesting you said that about the pumpkin seeds, because she does eat them almost every day. They're actually part of her when she takes her herbs, then we make this like green smoothie thing, and she likes to put them on top, but I didn't know that, so I'll give her even more. But also that's one of my coconut substitutions. So if I now that I know that, I'll make sure I do that all the time. I like my coconut substitutions are just chopping something up that's in the cabinet. It could be nuts or other seeds or whatnot, but if I do it solely the pumpkin seeds, I can really load her up.
Yeah. So the goal is about for like a 5-year-old would be about 1/4 cup.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a question. You mentioned teeth grinding.
Yeah.
Is that's correlated to parasites?
Yeah. That's consistent with the parasites.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, because I don't know if Mathis does it like throughout the night, but I'll catch him doing it like right before bed sometimes.
Yeah.
He doesn't wake up, but
yeah,
I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, just explore it. And it's also something that happens around with stress also. So, just explore it, try and, turn up some of the parasympathetic supports and see if that shifts at all. And if it's still pretty consistent, then you might try something else. And all of these, and if you're concerned that there's an infection, or if there's some like weird symptoms that aren't going away, that are gut symptoms, it's definitely valuable to get it tested, to send in a stool test to a group that really specializes in parasites. I really like the Parasitology Center. I think they're in New Mexico. And that's because they were recommended to me, and it turns out that this man, Dr. Ammon, is the parasitologist there, and he's been doing this for 40 years, and he actually checks every one of the samples himself. So I feel really confident with that. Oftentimes, like online, I'll read these recommendations that you should always, when you're checking for parasites, you should do 2 different labs, because every different lab, it really has a different forte, and you can get false negatives or false positives, and that can really, it can really throw you off. So you could do 2 different companies, or you could just choose one that you really feel great about. It's up to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. All right. What else is going on this week? How do you see, what else do you see as far as sleep in your kids? Is there anything else going on, or any other opportunity you see where you really want to get something going?
It's just a struggle to get my son to go to bed on time, and then he's always tired when he wakes up. And I just wish I could connect the dots for him. Go to bed sooner, you'll be less tired in the morning.
Yeah.
Simple, but it's always a resistance somehow.
Your son is he 11?
No, he's 10.
10. Okay. And so what are some things that you could do kind of like in the house environmentally to kind of set him up to feel tired, to really feel his circadian rhythm kicking in earlier? You know what I mean? Like, so that he's kind of overwhelmed with his natural sleepiness.
I guess the dim lighting and the slower activity helps, but he's aware of time, and he wants to stay up to this certain amount of time before he starts getting ready. And then after the starting getting ready, it's a 45 minutes to an hour process. And so it's, I try to be patient, and if I'm not there, he'll get off task and it'll be even longer. So I try to sit with him and make sure that these things all happen. But to me, it seems so simple. Just get ready and go to bed. But it's always a drag it out. I don't know if it's related to quality time with me. Maybe that's what he's trying to do. This is our one-on-one time, in his eyes. But I don't, as far as setting it up better, that I guess I'm at a loss.
Yeah. Well, and it's not necessarily better. It's just if your goal is to get him to fall asleep earlier, like what can be different, right?
Right.
And so let's take the idea, like if he just really loves that quality time with you, and because you're mentioning that, I would really pay really close attention to that, because we usually pick up on those things, right?
Yeah.
And so
so acutely aware of the time, and he resists anything before a certain time. And I don't know if his older sister is influencing that or not, but competition.
Oh yeah, wanting to be big.
Mm-hmm.
For sure. So what are things that motivate him? Like in our house, sometimes I can really motivate West, who's 6. That's a big difference.
Yes.
With like prizes, like treat kind of things around. If it's a food thing, we do some food trades. And then we also have like we'll come up with like special event kind of things, like a special day with Daddy where they go see like a game or something like that. I wonder if there's something that he could earn by getting in bed by a certain time. Does that like align at all with how your family works, or is there something else you see as an opportunity?
No, I think he definitely responds to things. My first thought was, those are my go-tos when I can't get him to do something really big, like, I don't know what, it's my big trade-offs. But I guess it would be a good idea to incorporate in just the smaller things. I do remember when my daughter was little doing like a chart. After so many days of this, you can do, pick what you want type of thing. So maybe that would be worth incorporating with him.
Yeah. I wonder, how does he respond really well when you ask, like, hey, I'm doing this thing, can you help me figure it out? Or does he work better when you just like present it?
I think it depends on if he wants to do it or not. I've asked him, I said, what can we do different? And depending on he'll just say, well, I'll try better next time. And I don't know if that's just his way of pushing it aside, but yeah, I do try to get his feedback on things and explain it and say, I only want what's best for you. This is why we're doing this, but there's always that resistance. So maybe it's just the wanting to be big. I don't know.
So what are some things like daily that you think will improve with his sleep that he would be really excited about, that would make a difference for him? Like, what do you notice in him that you think, you need sleep? In addition to like his digestion.
Yeah, I would think energy, how he feels overall as far as endurance,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe concentration. I don't know if that would improve, but I think energy would be my biggest answer to that.
Mm-hmm. So is he on any sports teams?
He's on a baseball team. Yep.
On a baseball team. Okay.
Yep.
So it will be kind of like an experiment to see how this could contribute to him really taking off in baseball in the spring. Mm-hmm. Does he do anything around baseball in the fall?
Yes, he is starting in the fall this year.
Oh, wow. Okay. Awesome. All right. Will you let us know how it goes?
Sure. Yeah. I appreciate the suggestion. That gives me something to focus on.
Okay. Great. That's good to hear. I'm excited to see how it goes. What else is going on? Are there any other questions that anyone has about sleep or really anything we've done so far, or anything related to kids' digestion?
How do you get them to eat a lunch that you pack, that they say they would eat, and then half of it comes home uneaten?
I love that. You know what, Teresa, I love that question. Did you finish?
I did.
Okay. I actually take photographs of my little boy's lunch when I make it and when it comes home, because of this exact question.
Right.
It kind of drives me crazy when I end up wasting food and like, Mom, can I have a snack? And when I remember, I say, yeah, sure, open up your lunch. Is there anything left in your lunch? Mm-hmm. And that works sometimes, especially if we are like going somewhere right after school. Then I'll open up his lunch and maybe he'll have like some carrot sticks left or something like that. But really, sometimes they just don't want to eat it. Sometimes they don't need it. And so I've really tried to cultivate just like just a non-attachment to the lunch.
Okay.
If he doesn't eat it, he doesn't eat it. He might have been really excited about it in the morning, but then by the time lunchtime rolls around, he's maybe distracted. Maybe he doesn't want it. Maybe he's decided, oh, that was really good when it was warm this morning, but I don't want this sausage and Brussels sprouts cold. Like that was something he was super excited about that earlier this week, and then he didn't eat any of it. So really cultivating that non-attachment so that then it doesn't take any of my energy.
Right.
And then I always have that backup. Oh, well, if you want a snack, why don't you eat more of your lunch? And if he's like really doesn't want it, then we move on to other things and new foods, and it's fine. But probably about half of the time, he'll be like, oh yeah, I still have some carrot sticks, or I still have some of this, and it'll work out all right. And, also depending on what's going on with a kid's digestion, like some of these foods just really don't feel good. Like if they're not breaking down the fibers in vegetables, then it's really going to be uncomfortable for them. They're going to get that gas and bloating and stuff. So, so then you can just notice and kind of keep track of what comes back and take that as like some really good directions for what's your next step in healing him and investigating, you know, okay, he's not eating this whole class of foods. Let's figure out why and pull in some supports.
Got it.
I love that question.
I would love to talk about snacks. It's like snack ideas and vegetables. I think I mentioned last time, maybe I didn't, but Kylie went from eating a lot of vegetables, maybe not a lot of different kinds of vegetables, but eating vegetables, you know, a couple times a day, every day was one of her go-to snacks. To like, she's on a vegetable strike. If it's not an avocado, which isn't even a vegetable, or a tomato, she will not eat it. She won't eat carrots. She won't eat cucumbers. She's allergic to green beans, which stinks because I think she'd eat them until she turned into a green bean. But nothing. Like, so other than sweet potato right now and tomatoes, she's not eating vegetables. Well, she eats lettuce because that's our bread book replacement, but she won't eat like a salad with lettuce. She used to love it.
Okay.
So I don't know. I am overwhelmed with trying to figure out like why. So I've given up on that. And now I'm just like, okay, how can we're going to, like, this has to be a phase. We'll get through it. I'll figure it out somehow. But for now, especially because 3 days a week, she has a sitter. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really struggling with, like, I would much rather them be able to make her the snack than me have to pre-make the snacks. And then, like, the day she has the sitter is to try to help me out. Right. But all she wants when she's with them is fruit. And so this is all new, you know, school just started, these sitters just started. They don't know her, you know, mealtime routines, and I haven't had time to kind of sit down and put some lists together for what they can offer her. So right now, like, almost every day of those 3 days, she's coming home, she's having an apple or a banana. She already had an apple at school. Mm-hmm. So I'm at a real loss right now with snacks.
So do you have a sense of whether she's not eating the vegetables because she'd rather have the fruit and she's kind of saving space for the fruit?
I don't think it's that, because we were off of fruit completely until just maybe 4 weeks ago, because if we thought her problems were candida, we realized it was parasites. But so this happened before that. So she was off of fruit too. And that was so challenging when she went on the vegetable strike, and she also wasn't really eating fruit. That was really fun. But so I don't think it's related. Like, right now, I think definitely the fruit has something to do with it. She goes to the fruit. She wants it because it was not available for so long, you know, and I understand that. But that's why I'm sending her to school almost every day with an apple. So I don't want her coming home and then having a banana a few hours later.
Okay. Yeah. So, does she, so any other intuitions around, like, do you think she's having trouble digesting them? Do you think she just is,
I think actually that it might have happened at, school. We call it school. Summer camp is at her same school. So I think as she's getting a little bit older, and she's recognizing how differently she eats than other people. She's always known it, but I think she's having a different awareness around it as she gets older. And looking at the other kids' snacks and looking at her carrot sticks and cucumbers, I think was not interesting to her. So for a while, she just didn't want them at school. She'd eat them not as frequently, but sometimes at home. And then it just turned into, I don't like carrots. I don't like cucumbers. And somehow over the course of time, a while ago, she gave up on, like, the Brussels sprouts, the asparagus. Sometimes she'll even fight me on onions if I have onions in a meal. She used to love them. She won't eat garlic anymore. She used to love garlic. Uh-huh. So I don't know. And I don't know if it's just turned into, like, a control thing. I'm not sure. But I mean, there's just, like, I'm not trying to push them on her. Like, I don't do you used to love carrots, you're going to eat these things. but I don't know. I don't understand why it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally get the kids at school are not eating this. Actually, just the other day, West in the middle of dinner said to me, Mom, kids don't like salad. They like things that have the word salad in it that's not salad, like chicken salad, but kids don't like salad. He just like went back to his meal. I was like, okay, thank you. So he's definitely getting this awareness also of like, okay, what is going on here? Like, I'm a kid. Why have I been eating all this salad? Kids don't eat salad.
Yeah.
So I get that. And also, like in our house, there just isn't anything else available most of the time. Like over the summer, we've been getting lots of berries. But we used to have a big fruit basket, and now it's full of sweet potatoes and onions and garlic. And we do have fruit once in a while, and he probably has a little bit of fruit every day, but they tend to be the lower sugar fruits. And so, if he's hungry, like this is what's around, and he eats it. We don't have, at this point, we don't have he doesn't have any digestive distress when he eats vegetables. There was a good portion of time when we couldn't feed him a lot of things because he would get a reaction, because he just couldn't digest it and it was bloating him and he was horribly uncomfortable when he had SIBO. So I think kind of pulling in a couple of different strategies where you're really investigating how is her digestion working? What will happen if you really focus on the rest and digest and the sleep? The reason we have these two things first is because your digestion just doesn't work if you're in that stress mode. You can't produce those enzymes. You're not producing enough hydrochloric acid. Your digestive system you're not getting the blood flow. You're not getting the peristalsis, the muscle action. So backing it up and really working on those aspects, I think will kind of clarify whether this is more of like she's just like putting her stake in the ground and saying, I'm a kid and kids don't eat vegetables, or if there's something else going on. Another thing that the sleep and the rest and digest can really help is just kind of the emotional balance, and because our bellies are where our gut is where our serotonin is produced. It's where our dopamine is produced. These are the things that will make us feel good. Our kids feel content and balanced, less agitated. So anything you can do to help her have more of those neurotransmitters, and calm the inflammation, let her recover overnight. I think that can really, I'm really interested in what happens when you're able to make the space to support the rest and digest and the sleep. Without enough sleep, kids and adults, they become more more impulsive, and their judgment kind of falters. You start getting a lot more of that inattention and lack of focus, and not being able to complete things, which I definitely experienced a ton of that when West was nursing and I was waking up a lot. I just everything fell apart. I couldn't complete anything. So, and I was really grouchy. So it's reasonable to expect that that's going to affect our kids too.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks.
Does that feel aligned, or do you feel like there's something else there?
No, that feels aligned. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think you're going to start with first?
For rest and digest type things, you mean?
Yeah, I know you're working on, you're going to do some essential oils maybe over the next few nights and see how that goes. Is there anything else you want to pull in? Or is that the one step that makes sense?
I think it's one. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. We're getting kind of close to an hour here. Is there anything else that anyone wants to talk about or ask about?
What's your take on snacking? Like, what we eat is pretty healthy. Consider he probably eats more fruit than he does vegetables, but he'll still eat vegetables, and but he just wants to snack all day. And I don't want to strap him down to a chair because he'll take a couple bites and then he wants to get up and go play and then come back, and it's don't want to fight it and make food a forceful thing and then have a bad idea of what food is. So is it at this age, is that a terrible thing to be to snack off and on, or is it better to make sure he does 3 solid meals? And
I don't think it's a terrible thing. I think it's important to keep track of any signs you might see that maybe you're feeding pathogens and that's driving the kind of snacks that he wants to eat. Or if there are like kind of energy issues, like if he just like crumples, if he doesn't get a snack every couple of hours, then you know that, okay, well, his blood sugar balance is kind of wacky. We've got a lot of ups and downs, and maybe we could stabilize that by making sure the snacks that are available are really protein and fat based, and then just kind of see what plays out from there. There are a lot of people that that are really strong proponents of a keto style diet based hugely in the fats and the proteins in order to really support their kids. And kids that eat that way, like they don't really seek out snacks. Like they get hungry, they're excited by treats that, are sweet and look good and exciting. But they have really steady energy and really steady moods and attitudes with just, a breakfast, a lunch, maybe an afternoon snack that's like, kind of veggie heavy on the protein and fat, and then a dinner. And it doesn't mean like never eat fruit, and it doesn't mean like never have treats or sweet things. It's just you can find those alternatives that just are less carb heavy. So you could just experiment and see how it goes. If there are persistent unresolved issues, then you might want to try out something different. But if you're content, then I would keep going with it.
Okay. His mood's pretty even overall, unless he is going too long without a nap, or if I know he's gone too long without eating anything.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I'll take like 3 or 4 bites of, I'll make like it's a I call it oatmeal, but it's not, it's more of a porridge. He'll eat, sometimes he'll eat the whole bowl right away, but then some mornings it's just like 3 bites, and then I forget that that's all he's taken, and then a couple hours go by, and that's when I notice that he has trouble. But it's not necessarily, I haven't noticed anything as far as what he's eating. It's just the distance between food and then naps or behavior.
That totally makes sense. That seems totally reasonable. And, as when we're talking about fruit, I'm always thinking of, and sugar, and processed stuff. I'm always thinking about the possibility of candida, which is really important to think about, because candida, when it overruns the gut, it crowds out other beneficial bacteria. It crowds out the bacteria that make those great neurotransmitters that keep our kids feeling good and kind of bright and able to just go about their lives in the way we expect. And candida is really sneaky. It sometimes doesn't turn up on tests, and it's actually growing those roots through the gut wall and creating a leaky gut state. And also it produces the byproducts of candida, and these other pathogens are producing toxins that we then have to filter, that our kids have to filter. So it's really an extra burden on them. So I'm listening to all of you and just kind of paying attention, and we're probably going to circle back and just check in about it and see how everyone feels about what their kids are eating, if there are any reactions. And for now, it's so important to really work on our rest and digest and sleep. And next week we'll be talking about adrenals, and also working on supporting our kids' rest and digest and sleep, to get that really solid foundation, so that when we do make some other changes to address some other issues, then they already have this really strong foundation ready for their body to kick into healing mode. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can follow up with me anytime, also with any questions that occur to you later. And you have a Facebook group, of course. And I want to check in really quickly. We're working on resolving the private session scheduling issue. And so if you haven't worked that out with me yet, I'll text you, or you can text me, and we'll figure that out. And then also, as far as the reminders and the like the time indicator for this live session, is there anything missing or anything that could work better for you? Does anyone have any suggestions?
I just needed to get my time zone right. That was all.
Okay, so when you get the email reminders, are you getting is it showing you in Pacific time then?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, is everyone getting it in Pacific time? I guess you're in Pacific time, Terry. Okay.
I don't look as to what time the email is sent for me, but it does say like 11 a.m. Pacific time. But
Okay.
I got one this morning at like, I don't know, it was 8 or something that said it was 1 hour away. And I was like, oh no, it's starting an hour? I thought it wasn't till later. But then I looked down further and it said 11 a.m. Pacific. So.
Okay, like there were maybe a couple of emails that had gotten sent out, stacked up or something?
Maybe. It was just one email reminding about the call, but it said it was in 1 hour. The title of the email said your meeting's in 1 hour. But then in the email, it said at 11 a.m. Pacific.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you. I really appreciate your talking through that so that we can figure that out. Okay, next week, I think it'll be different. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for showing up. And we'll see you again next week. Bye.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.